Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro and his family were subject to an arson attack. How much time in prison and what penalty could the arsonist face? You will have to watch to the end of the video to find out. Now, in this incident, unfortunately, Josh Shapiro and his family were actually inside the property when the arsonist set fire to his home. And afterwards, luckily, nobody was harmed, and he released a message on X saying, quote, "Thank God no one was injured and the fire was extinguished. Every day we stand with the law enforcement and first responders who run towards danger to protect our communities. Last night they did so for our family, and Lori and I are eternally grateful for them for keeping us safe." End quote. Now, in Pennsylvania, the crime of arson is taken incredibly seriously. Specifically, Title 18 of Chapter 33, specifically Section 3301, criminalizes the act of committing arson. And subsection A of this particular section makes it a crime if you commit that act and do so recklessly. So even if there's no intent to harm people, if it's reckless, it's still a crime. Specifically, the wording of the section states a person commits a felony of the first degree, which is obviously a very serious crime, if he intentionally starts a fire or causes an explosion, or if he aids, counsel, pays, or agrees to pay another, and recklessly places another in danger of death or bodily injury, or commits the act for the purpose of destroying property that is inhabited, which means that there are people there. Now, the statute says that a person who commits that act could be guilty of murder of the second degree if somebody passes away as a result of this act, and it could even be first degree if a first responder who is responding to that fire does end up passing away. Now, the specific section that the apparently the person who has done this will be charged with is under subsection A1, which is aggravated arson, which is a higher degree of arson. And the wording for this statute requires that the person had an intention to harm anybody who was present at the location. So the wording for this section goes: a person commits a felony of the first degree if he intentionally starts a fire or causes an explosion, aids, counsel, pays another for that purpose, if he thereby attempts to cause or intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causes bodily injury of another person, including but not limited to the firefighter, police officer, or any other person actively engaged in fighting the fire, or commits an offense under this section which is graded as a felony when a person is present inside the property at the time of the offense. Now, if anybody had actually passed away as a result of the act of the arsonist, they would be guilty of murder in the second degree. If that had occurred. But it appears that in this case, fortunately, nobody had passed away. But as far as the sentence is concerned, if it were the case that a person did lose their life, they could have actually faced the death penalty. That is how serious this crime is taken in Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania, although there's a moratorium on the death penalty, it does actually have such a penalty in place. In the other event that obviously there's no loss of life, the person who is caught for doing this could face up to 40 years in prison. And a ironic part of this is that if they were sentenced, in order for them to get a pardon, to get dispensation, the very person who would give them that pardon is actually the individual who is the victim of this case, and that is the governor of Pennsylvania.